All right, we're going to kick this video off with some numbers. What you're looking at here are the total amounts due per month for my gas and electric bill combined. Apples to oranges a little bit perhaps, but our house is around 1900 square feet, 2 stories, and this is our average bill per month for gas and electric. About 110 bucks, not bad, right? What is yours? Do you know yours? So in this video, which starts right now, we're going to be taking a look at how we can actually save money, specifically looking at the AC bill. I'm going to show you some tips how you can keep your house cool and keep those costs down. Now, keep in mind, I'm not a pro, just a do-it-yourself homeowner here with some tips. But weirdly enough, we're going to start out with a meat thermometer. Yes, go into the kitchen, get a meat thermometer out. Our first layer of tips here are going to be involve this meat thermometer. Basically, a way that you can check out the ambient temperature of your home. I mean, specifically, we're going to look at your register, that cold air coming out. Good idea to kind of see, okay, what temperature should it be leaving at? You can Google that question. But generally, it's about 20 degrees. It's supposed to cool about 20 degrees less or cooler than the current ambient temperature outside, right? So if it's 80 degrees out or the air is entering into the system at 80 degrees, it should be coming out around 60 degrees is kind of the general rule as I understand it and as I've researched. So what we're going to do first is go to your thermostat and you're going to compare your meat thermometer. You can see we're off by about a degree. I don't know which one's wrong. They're two completely different brands and technologies and products, right? But that's important to know because what we're going to do is go around our house with that meat thermometer and we're just going to get some general reads of, how warm or how cool the other rooms are compared to what it says on your thermostat. Remember, there's a 1 degree temperature differential between those two in this situation. So we're going to go upstairs to the second floor and we're just going to pop it kind of in the middle, kind of a general area where we spend plenty of time, right? And you saw we were about 80.5, 80.6. So we're going to pick it up and go to the other places in the room. We live in a pretty vertical home, so obviously warm air rises, right? So we're going to go up to the kids' bedrooms, all the bedrooms up here up on the second floor, and we're about 81 or so when the thermostat downstairs says 76, right? So you can do that let's correct there for the difference. Should the meat thermometer downstairs where the thermostat is says 77, and up here it's about 81 in the kids' bedroom, a little less than. So we're kind of looking at a 4 degree differential between the main floor and the second degree floor. And we're going to continue doing that just to get an understanding of if there's any, significantly warmer areas. Obviously, note the sun position. If the sun's shining on one side of the house, then it's going to maybe perhaps warm that up a little bit. You might see higher temperatures. In this case, not really. It seems to be holding about the same. If you do notice, you might want to consider switching out any dome lights with a ceiling fan. That would help keep things cool. So overall, on the second floor of our home, we have a 3.5-ish temperature differential between the main floor. Let's go back down to the main floor. And by the way, you'll want to wait, a minute or so. It's not instantaneous. The meat thermometer does a pretty good job, depending on which one you have, right, of giving you a instant read. But you're going to still want to wait. You'll see the temperature kind of fluctuate within a minute. It seems to stabilize. We're going to actually go down to the basement to give you an idea, because we already know what the main floor temperature is, how much cooler the basement is, because this is going to affect what we are going to be doing and the tips I'm going to be providing today. So you can see here things cool down. We're about 69, 70 degrees. So that's a significant reduction in temperature, right? Cold air goes down, warm air goes up. So we're going to start with a really easy tip here. Number 1, replace all of your lights in your home with LED lights. It creates less heat, and keep them off during the summer months as much as possible. All that's burning electricity and creating an increase in cost for you. Second tip, if you're not at home, make sure you use the programmable thermostat feature. So get out your manual and check it out. When you're not at home, you want to raise that temperature up. I keep mine at kind of 82 when I'm not home, and then drop it down to 76 or so. 75 is kind of where we like to keep it. And speaking of the temperature here on the programmable thermostat, you're going to want to find that sweet spot between what is too warm and what is too cold for you. There's no reason to keep it at 68, 69 degrees. In fact, that could actually cause damage long-term to your unit. You can Google that question, but we generally like to keep our temperature at 74, 75 during the summer months. The next suggestion, we're going to go down into the basement and we're going to close off the vents, not completely, but we want to get them mostly closed. Professionals out there might have an issue with this because these systems are designed to have probably all of the vents open. So, I can't say if that's true or not, but this is what I do in my basement during the summer months, during the hot months. I close up the vents, just pretty much, and the idea is that pressure is going to build and put out colder air in areas that maybe need it a little more, right? That's my theory. We're also going to make sure we close any closet doors, any utility doors. We don't need to spend money cooling places that we're not spending a lot of time, right? The next suggestion and the next tip is to clean out that furnace filter, that air conditioning filter. In this case, it's the same filter, and I would bet yours is too, and put a new one in. You'll want to follow your AC unit's manufacturer, the manufacturer's instructions, how often you should change this thing. Mine, depending on the filter as well, you can change it every month, every 3 months, every 6 months, or whatever. I like to change mine every 3 months. I like to not buy a super fancy filter because that can actually create more clogging and make your unit work a little harder. From what I've been told from the pros, from the guys who service my AC and furnace. And so I like to get one that you can change every 3 months or so. And I write on there. And you'll be surprised how often you kind of forget that, right? All right, another easy tip for you. Make sure that there's little levers that kind of are on the main vents that go out, push cold air from the AC to you can see the big duct right there, right? This is the main duct that leaves the AC unit and pushes cold air into the house. Make sure those vents are parallel, those little levers are parallel to the actual vent. That means it's open. If they're perpendicular, then guess what? They might be completely closed, right? Or maybe not open all the way. All right, that takes care of the basement. We don't need to cool the basement, right? So we're closing those vents. Now, upstairs on the second floor, if you have a two-story home, we're going to make sure all of those vents, maybe they're on the floor themselves or the ceiling, make sure those are cranked open. Yes, go around to each room, your bedroom, the bathroom, and make sure all of those are open. And if you have any fans, like in a closet, for example, you might want to consider having a fan in there if you're in your closet, or closing the door. You don't need to necessarily cool your closet, right? And again, make sure your closet doors, anywhere that's open, you don't need to cool that space, so keep them closed. And turn on any ceiling fans on your second floor. If you've got them, use them. They take minimal energy. You can just keep them on. I keep mine on round the clock, night, day on the hot months. There's closet doors in the kids' room being closed. Keep them closed during the day in the hottest part of the day. Also, if you have any sunshades like a porch, keep them closed. You're going to want to create as much shade as possible. Turn on the fans. Keep that temperature somewhat suppressed a little bit, or as much as possible, from entering into your home. We've also got pretty thick panel glass on our back sliding door that helps insulate. It's probably filled with argon gas or something that is kind of this clear insulator that they often put in between panes of glass. Now, as the day progresses, make sure you keep curtains closed. That's another tip, right? Really easy stuff here. Keep curtains closed. Like in the morning when the sun shines on a certain side of your house, close the blinds, close the curtains, and then as the sun shifts in the day, kind of follow the sun where it is in the house and make sure those are closed. That's going to keep those hot sun rays coming in. Another tip here, go around all of your windows, and you may have had them open, especially if you're coming off of cooler months, and maybe they're not latched all the way, right? Or maybe there's a really small gap. So what I like to do is make sure, go around once a week or so, because sometimes my kids open their windows, and you're like, why are you, the AC is on, stop. And go around and close them and actually lock at least one lever on it. If they're locked, they're more likely to be completely sealed and prevent air from coming out. Another tip, go to your registers and check them out. You're going to want to clean these regularly because they collect lots of dust and filth and grime and all kinds of gross stuff that let you kind of remind you that you are human, right? That stuff is just gunk from, walking around, from being, and we're going to clean those out. And also dust regularly. It's kind of a simple but kind of obvious tip maybe, or a silly one even, but dust regularly and vacuum regularly. That's going to keep those registers stuff from, you know, coming into the register or the return here, and then going into your filter and clogging your filter faster, right? It's going to put more strain on the AC, make it work harder, and it's going to run more often and increase your bills. I like to use a vacuum because it sucks things out, as opposed to a cloth that can push dirt in, right? If you push stuff in, it's going right back into the AC unit when you turn that baby on. All right, and my last tip, we'll stop the video here with a tip. You can see here, this is a big no-no. We've got foliage on top and the side that can put extra strain on your AC unit. You're going to want to make sure it is free from leaves and foliage and all that good stuff. Nothing should be touching it. Kind of 2 to 5 feet in all sides is kind of the general rule that I like to follow. All right, hopefully this has helped you out. Click that subscribe button, that like button down below, and hopefully you'll see you in another video. Thanks.